Yeah, I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat. Yo, grew my hair and took the grill out. Think it's time to put it back in. Trying to get into that big house, turn the crib into the mansion. Needed something with that big bounce. You know I had to hit Jackson. Aaron Rodgers with the quick routes. How with the gang we packing? We on the field at Lambo. Might peel in a Lambo. Running drills in my camo. They know what the M stand for. Still got fam in Hawaii, yeah. Couple fans in the lobby, yeah. Couple grand in my pocket, yeah. Couple grams of wasabi, yeah. Eye it up, no glasses. Light it up, no matches. Wife it up, no ratchets. Might turn my wife to an actress. And we gon' make a movie, no Kim K. Give a fuck about what your friends say. I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
I'm just sticking to the code, I keep it so G. She asked me what I smoke, I'm smoking OG. I don't fool with too many, only catch me 4 deep. Gotta stay away from snakes, swear these people so creep. I've been grinding for a minute, many labels so sleep. These rappers drop a song, be hot for about a week. I put Gucci on my toes, I keep some cold feet. I ain't paying for no hoes, you niggas know me. I'm about to body the beat. I keep me a hottie with me. She wanna for a fee. Give me that for free. Keep me some money on me. Smoking the gas, keep. You with me, sheesh. Bonito, cheap, keep.
I got money on my phone and money on me. I got all these hoes, but still lonely. They been blowing on that strong, but still so weak. I've been higher than a drone, but still low-key. We been sitting on the floor, they in the nosebleeds. Lately I've been in control, they can't control me. Yeah, they about to get exposed for being so cheap. I've been sticking to the code and I ain't gon' cheat.
Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I bust soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm in a whip, so I gotta zoom. They tryna talk, they not in the room. I been so real, I'm dead to the tomb. They in the way, they gotta move. I got a gas, they running on fumes. Told them way back, it's something new. It's me and Dan, you gotta choose. I'm taking what's mine, I'm doing fine. Don't see the vision, they looking so blind. I hit my lower, I don't got the time. Crossing my T's and he dotting those eyes. Don't take offense if I do not oblige. I can't belabor like none of these guys. They hit me once and I'm cutting the ties. I was so low, but I'm back on the rise, it's real. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom, vroom. I told her mom that I bust soon. Knew as a child back in the womb. Oh, told her step back, I need my broom. Hop in the car, watch it go vroom. I'm hopping now I gotta go. I'm looking back, they not even close. I had a 4, now I need a ghost. I got a wave like I'm on the coast. Same ones are down and I dare to show. So way that I'm ballin', they think I'm a pro. I'm getting sick by the money I gross. They saying whoa, I told them all what this is. I told them all I don't miss. Said it's my time, look at this shit on my wrist. And when they shooting this breaks, I'm going in. In a new gig, gotta shift. I cannot stick to the script, I cannot wait. Watch how I get it and flip. It's just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone. Ayy, just how I'm doing this shit and I'm gone.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Ayy, on the road, here we go, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming on my landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on the road, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Bitcoin getting another little drop to the downside here, approaching our full golden pocket retracement, guys. Are we going to be able to get a bounce from this zone? And if we do, is it going to be sustainable? If you watched last night's live stream, you will know with our money flow that was coming out on the medium time frames and still is, it does look like this downtrend could continue. However, we are coming down to support. So if we get bounce here, I want to talk about those key resistance levels because we do have a lot of confluence above us where I will be looking for a potential rejection for a potential lower low on the higher time frames, looking towards about $107,000. Now, I am not calling for $107,000. I'm just going to give you guys the idea here and what money flow is pointing towards. I'll give you the bullish case, the bearish case, and then I'll let you know which way I am leaning and my overall personal trading plan here as well. Yeah, we got a major key level above us, and we're going to take a look at the liquidation heat maps, guys, because as you know, there is a lot of liquidity sitting below $107,000. So maybe we're going down there to sweep out that liquidity, but doesn't mean it's the bear market. As you guys know, I am longer term, still bullish here on Bitcoin as we enter into October, or as some of you guys call it, Uptober. So thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. What is going on, Mafia? Let's see. Shout out to L Trades in the chat. Hey, bro, let's turn that into W Trades. Shout out to L Trades. What is going on, man? Welcome in. We got Patrick in the chat. Said this market has no remorse. Shout out to Patrick. Absolutely. This market is absolutely brutal. We got Hollywood 25. Jesse, our like police in the chat. How you doing, Jesse? Hope you're feeling well, brother. Let us know how your recovery is going from the motorcycle accident. Shout out to Jesse. We got Perry in the chat. Said salute, Frankie. Shout out to Perry. Welcome in. We got Darren Does Things as always. Says Frankie's old bearish chair is lurking still. Get rid of it, please. All right. Shout out to Darren. And yesterday on the premium live stream, guys, I spilled an entire cup of coffee. Which, if you've been on the channel long enough, I'm not saying trade based off this. I'm not going to. But every time I spill a drink on the desk, and when we used to have this really old, nasty, bearish chair, the market was doing very poorly. So I spilled coffee yesterday, and we got the bear. So let me get this chair out of here real quick. All right, here we go. Hopefully we can get a pump now. You guys heard it here first. If Bitcoin goes up, that was the exact reason. Frankie Candles moved his bearish chair out of the background, and maybe we can get this market to start to pump a little bit. But yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat. Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Don't forget to smash that like button. We're going to be doing some giveaways on Friday. If we get 550 likes, we'll add a Frankie Candles hat into the giveaway on top of the crypto that we're already going to give to you guys. So without further ado, guys, we got a lot to look at here on the charts. So let's go ahead and jump on into the charts. Let's get into it. All right, let's see. Frankie, how many charts are you sitting on, or how many chairs are you sitting on? Shout out to Skizzle. Contrary to popular belief, I am actually only 3'7", guys. So I am actually on a Secret Labs chair on top of a box that is being held up by a stool. So I am pretty high up in the air for me. My legs are just dangling, guys. My feet are dangling. I can't touch the floor. I'm just kidding, guys. Usually people are pretty close. Actually, no. People are really close at guessing my age and guessing my weight. But nobody could ever guess my height. A lot of you guys know it. If you don't know what my height is, if you know what my height is, don't put it in the chat. If you don't know what my height is, guess how tall I am in the chat. It's the number one thing when I meet people in real life. They're like, Frankie Candles. Well, either, oh my God, you're way shorter than I thought, or oh my God, you're way taller than I thought. I won't say which one. Let me know how tall you guys think I am in the chat. Tony D, put up a poll on how tall the Mafia thinks I am. Usually people are way off. But anyway. For some reason, they guessed the weight almost spot on, though, which is very interesting. But anyway, let's take a look here, guys. So obviously, we have gotten the drop to the downside here on Bitcoin, rejecting our macro golden pocket retracement, that big level we have been reminding you guys of. Hey, I know FLMC is coming. We got this major golden pocket retracement. We all know this could give us the high, the low, the lower high before potentially seeing a lower low come in here. And I would be looking for that lower low below 107K. And I will bring that up. Oh, God, here we go. 5'2", 5'9", 6'1", 5'7", 5'8", 5'11". Oh, God, they're all over the place. Tony D, if you could, I'm sure he's already doing it, but if you could throw that poll up, because it's going to be hard for me to get the general thoughts. 6'1", 6'1", 5'7", 5'10", 5'10", 5'9". A lot of average guesses here. 10 foot. Hey, Farman, you knew, didn't you? You knew. Shout out to Farman. No, 107K tall. Shout out to Sanji. I'll see if Tony can put that poll up there, and I'll stick to the TA here. And yeah, I mean, a couple of people got it right. But I'll see what the poll says. But obviously, like I said, looking for the break of structure. If we could continue down here, guys, remember, the rejection on this macro golden pocket is one of the reasons why I am anticipating a potential continuation to the downside. We know it's an area to put in the lower high. We know that if we put in the lower high, we're looking for the lower low, which again would be breaking that structure below 107K. And on top of that, obviously, yesterday, one of the big things we were covering was the money flow coming out on the 4-hour time frame. Right? This does indicate that the trend will continue down. We even looked at this last week on time frames like the 30-minute money flow, looking to cross over into the red. Actually, it was this money flow crossover that we were looking at, indicating that the local trend would continue down. Then we start seeing the 4-hour crossover. That's indicating that the bigger trend is going to continue down. And that 4-hour money flow is still in the red. We also have time frames like the 6-hour starting to crack into the red here, guys. And from a binary perspective, from a simple market cipher perspective, before I pull up all the intricate levels, it does indicate the continuation of the downtrend, guys. And this is the higher probability situation, in my opinion, or just, I guess, in the chart's opinion. Does that have to play out? Not necessarily, but it is definitely what it looks like here on Market Cipher B. So I am going to be careful. We do have some local levels underneath us, so it's not guaranteed that we have to put in the lower high for the lower low to actually come in. Obviously, a very high probability reaction. We are still holding the short position from the well, I guess it's over on this chart. We are holding the short position. Is it this one? Yeah. So I am still holding my short up here. I'll bring that trade up in just a second. So we are short in the premium Discord from the high here. But let me take a look at this on the just from a Fibonacci perspective. Shout out to Tony D. Thank you for that, brother. But yeah, it's, you know, again, it doesn't guarantee. The only reason I'm saying, right, like this obviously opens the door for the lower high, but the money flow is kind of what makes me think that it is the higher probability situation here, right? This would indicate the trend. Any bounces, which, you know, we potentially could see here, if we do get, or when we get this next 4-hour green dot, we have a red dot printing. I'll bring this up in a second. There's actually something very interesting looking to form here. If you guys can guess what that is, I'm sure a lot of you can. But any bounces here, guys, are going to be treated as lackluster bounces for retracements, lower highs and lower lows until proven otherwise. Now, I am still holding my long from 107K, which my entry is a lot higher now because I have re-added to that position. So my entry is somewhere up here now. But I am still holding that long position, profits locked in, and the short position. So I am in that kind of cushy position. But, you know, if we get bounces here, just simply put, lower highs, lower lows are going to be the general anticipation. I'm going to talk about some of the key levels that we're looking at up here that those lower highs could come in at because we have a lot of confluence up here that I'm interested in. So I'm just going to kind of give you guys my overall plan on what I'll be looking at for the next trades. But yeah, here's the thing, right? We don't know if it's guaranteed, right? Although money flow is pointing for the lower low to come in, we don't know if that's going to be guaranteed, right? And I would say the biggest levels to look at are similar to what we looked at last night, which is our full Golden Pocket 786 Fibonacci retracement, which has been front run. once again, right? We came down, we front ran it, and we popped down again to, once again, front run it. So this is going to be a key level, and I'll bring up the exact technical level with the confluence in just a second so you guys will know exactly what I'm looking at. We do have a potential for our bullish divergence looking to form here. As I just mentioned, that was what I was looking for to form here, right? We have a higher low, potentially looking to form on our momentum waves here. We have a fresh red dot, so we could still continue down a little bit, and to be quite honest, I would prefer to come down and tap that golden pocket, right? We even talked about it on this golden pocket. It's like, you come up, you get the pullback, right? You come up, you get the pullback. You come up, you get the pullback. But eventually, even here, you barely front run it, right? It's kind of hard to see. But even up here, you barely front run it, and then finally you tap into it before getting the bigger drop down. So more often than not, when you are patiently waiting for those key levels, they will get hit. It's not impossible to front run it, but just to kind of explain to you guys why I prefer to hit this, right? It's the same situation here. Could you have shorted here, and this could have been the move? Sure, right? But for me personally, I would rather sit on my hands and wait for the key level to get tapped. And more often than not, it is going to be the better situation. So I would prefer for the golden pocket to get tapped. That is technically our next local level of support down below us. But we'll see. If we can get another little push into this golden pocket, reclaim it with some bullish divergences on the 4 hour, that might indicate that we might be able to get a bounce, which could be very exciting if the money flow was not in the red here, right? So obviously my overall anticipation is lower highs and lower lows. So let's go over some of those key levels of resistance and kind of what I'm expecting here from a overall kind of, price action perspective, right? What is this likely going to look like? Well, there are some local levels that we're going to look at, but I'll hide them for now. Obviously, I have the anchored VWAP sitting up there, but for the most part here, guys, right, I'll even hide the lower levels, and I'll even hide all these dailies as well, just so we can clean up the chart. Whoops, I don't want to get rid of the fib. I just want to get rid of all these. Bada boom. Bada bing. All right, so obviously, if we do get a push to the upside, guys, what do we have here, right? We got the breakdown of the range. We came in, rejected the golden pocket, and now we're back outside this range. This value area low is going to be key resistance, right? Number one, this is the start of the zone. Value area low comes in at about $115,052, right? And just above that, we do have a significant amount of confluence, very similar to the confluence that we had here on the way up, which actually wound up just getting flipped to support for a push up. But nonetheless, we do have this resistance up here, weekly MPOC, daily horizontal, and the value area low. And this zone does sit between about, let me get a little bit more accurate of a box pull there. Box pull, that's an interesting term. 115,045 all the way up to about 115.7. If we are looking for lower highs and lower lows, this is going to be kind of that first level that I'll be looking at and the first opportunity to put in the lower high. If we pull from our absolute high to the low here, you can see that our golden pocket stacks up right on the weekly and daily MPOC along with that daily horizontal. So remember, guys, when you're looking for places for a reaction on price, right? You want to find the areas where you have the most confluence, meaning multiple levels in one spot, right? If you have a daily, a weekly, a monthly, an MPOC, a value area low, and a golden pocket, right? You have multiple levels of confluence. It just makes that level much more high probability to get a move to the downside or the upside, whether you're, approaching support or approaching resistance. And I would say, this technically right up here is the biggest area of confluence, sitting closer to about 115.6 to 115.7. But obviously, this is going to be looked at as a zone because if we come up here, this value area low is going to be treated as resistance until proven otherwise. I would probably expect something like this if we are going to get that lower high there. Something like this might be what I will be looking for. Obviously, I can't call the exact moves that price is going to make. For all I know, we could bing bong around here for 2 days, obviously. But at the end of the day, however this winds up looking, this would be kind of the place I would be looking for the major level of resistance. Now, on top of that, even if we pulled our full fib here, even if we pull from this lower high to the low, you can see here the 786 is also confluent with the value area low. So you can see we have like multiple levels of confluence in this zone. Just trying to break down for you guys like why I look for or how I actually find these key levels, right? It's not just like this is a magical box that only I can find. This is, I like to show you guys exactly how I do this. So that is the box, right? Technically, your golden pocket here does sit at about 114.328, which if you guys remember, we had two daily MPOCs sitting here, which I've since deleted off the chart, but we had a daily and a weekly MPOC sitting about right here at about 114.250, right? So these tapped levels, right, they were support on the way down or a little bit. They didn't last very long. We looked at these as scalp levels. Obviously, they wound up not holding because it wasn't the biggest level. The biggest level was down here between 113 to 112K. But, on the way back up, right, this could be looked at as support and then flipped into resistance, right? So if you wanted to look at this as like a larger zone or maybe like two separate zones, you might be able to look at this as a little bit of a starter resistance, right? So you have the golden pocket, you have these two tapped daily and weekly MPOCs. So you could also look at this, like just giving you the intermediary kind of resistance. This is, at the end of the day, the entire zone where this could come in at. I would say more of the confluence is sitting up here at about 115.7, but we don't know, right? We don't know if we're going to pull up here and reject the first fib, or if we're going to pull up and reject the second fib. 786 digs a little deeper into the profile. That sits at about 116,520. But again, there's not a lot of confluence up there other than this daily. I would still say more of the confluence is down here. So from a simple perspective, I'd say between about 115 to 115.45 to 115.7 is the big zone. But just be aware that you have this kind of intermediary local resistance that, if we did want to start that, continue that aggressive downtrend, it's not impossible to put in the lower high here. And this is the level that I will be waiting for. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and throw up a alert here. Local resistance. So there you go. But again, the stronger level is going to be sitting up here. So those are the big levels of resistance. If we are going to come in, put in the lower high and the lower low, whether it's breaking the local trend or breaking the local low or coming down here to crack 107K, these would be the two big areas to look at first, in my opinion. We break above the value area low. We can look at the 786. The confluence isn't that great up there. And again, once you get up in here, you do have to be careful of, flipping the value area low to support. Money flow does not point towards that being the case, but we'll have to see. It depends on how long it takes us to get up there, if we can even get into that level. But just be aware, obviously, within the volume profiles, if you do get up in here to play with that 786, you got to be careful. If you do take any shorts up here, in my opinion, right, you do have to be careful around that value area low, which could make it a little bit of a tricky short position, because if you short that 786, let's say you get an entry right on that 786, and you ride it down to that value area low and flip it to support, it's like a 1.3% move, not too bad. But just be aware, right? That is going to, not only are you flipping the value area low potentially to support, you also have the weekly, daily MPOC, and the daily horizontal that could flip to support as well. But we'll cross that bridge when we get there. It would be much prettier if we just came in and rejected that golden pocket because of all that confluence. So those are levels I'm looking at to the upside, guys. Very, very simple. And I bet even if we pull this local profile here, probably going to get very similar confluence. Yeah, you get the POC of that local range in there, the value area low. I mean, this is the level of resistance. If you want the larger zone, it's really sitting between about 114.250 up to 115.7. So there you go. That's the big level of resistance. I have my alert set. I will be waiting. Well, hang on. Do I have that alert set? I have that one. I have this one. And I will set one here as well. All right, so I'll be waiting for those levels for a potential short position. And remember, the confluent areas are really where you want to see those big reactions. And in the premium Discord, obviously, we've been kind of low-key slapping the heck out of this chart, guys. Short from the high, long from the bottom, short from the high, and technically, right, we have long setups here from the bottom for fresh positions, but I just added to my long position, so technically I am kind of in like a fresh position here just because my entry moved up. And like those are the last trades that we have taken in the Discord. I have them marked out here. Short from the high, wrote it down to the 107K, key level of support where we were not looking to FOMO short, guys. We were looking to flip long here. Not like if you're shorting down here, it is too late. You missed the move, right? But that doesn't mean that you can't trade, right? You can just look for the long position. We took that long position at 107K, wrote it up into the POC golden pocket zone, and then we were again short from the high. And then technically this long is now up here. So I'm now also long from there. But yeah, not too bad. Like caught almost every, caught every single big move here on the chart so far. Hopefully we can continue. We're not going to win every single trade. We're not going to catch every single move, but so far we've been doing pretty dang good in the premium. But I'm going to see, again, especially with this red dot printing on the 4 hour, I don't know, especially with the front run of this golden pocket, I just don't know. Just like yesterday, right? We were talking about how when we came down to this key level of support, hey guys, like, I just don't know if we're going to hold that 112K level just because of the way Market Cipher B looked. And what happened, right? We broke down and we came into our next zone of support. And it's kind of the same thing, but just a little bit more local today. Could we bounce off this? Technically, it is the start of our zone because we did have a daily. If you're wondering why this box is above the golden pocket, it's because we had a daily here, right, which is now tapped. We tapped it here, and then we came down to tap it again. I personally would prefer to get one more push down here, especially with that red dot printing. This would look a lot more pretty, in my opinion, because that 4 hour red dot could continue to play out. How much more time do we have on this candle? We got about another 2 hours almost for this to potentially turn back around and tap that golden pocket. But again, I did add a little bit more to my long position again today. My position's creeping very, very close up into this level. So we'll see what happens if we drop down again. I may look to add a little bit more, maybe even take another fresh long position. But it's just like this fresh red dot. I just don't, it's hard, right? Like here's the mixed signal. This red dot could indicate the next drop down before the bounce. But then you come on down here to some of the lower time frames, like take a look at the 90-minute. Like, dang, this 90-minute bullish divergence is looking pretty sweet, right? Lower lows, higher lows. VWAP also coming up on Market Cipher B, looking to print that green dot. So maybe we could come up sooner than later. I would again prefer to come down and tap that golden pocket because more often than not, you are going to come up and tap that key level, just like we talked about here. But it is, I don't really have a preference, right? If we take off here, I've already loaded up a little bit more on my long, and yeah, I really don't have a, I do prefer technically to come down here, but if we come up, I'm still exposed to the trade, so it's no big deal. But that's kind of my thought process. If we come back down, I'll just look to add a little bit more or maybe take another long position if we can get those confirmations. But yeah, hopefully we could catch the short, catch the long, catch the short, and then catch another long here. That'd be absolutely epic. But yeah, we'll have to let price action develop. Taking a look at the higher time frames here on the daily. Money flow also kind of still in the red here, very choppy here on the daily. We finally crossed into the red, back into the green, back into the red. VWAP does look a little bit overextended here. So I do think if we're going to get another big move to the upside, I would look for that daily green dot to print, which I do think is probably going to take a little bit of time. Maybe in the next day or so, 2 days, we might be able to get that green dot. But we'll assess it as price action develops and hopefully continue to catch those trades. I'm going to come into chat real quick before we jump into the altcoins, and I'll do a quick little rundown on a simple explanation on Bitcoin so you guys can kind of get those levels and put them on your chart. Let's see. Shout out to Jesse, said, Hemi is up nice for me. Hemi as in 5.7? 5.7 Hemi? Is that what you're talking about? I used to have a 5.7 Hemi. Man, I missed that car. But anyway, let's see. Isaac wants to see TARS. We could try to take a look at TARS today. Quick reminder, guys, please do not that he super chatted, but don't super chat your altcoins. You could just send them in the chat for free. Let's check up on our poll here. How tall is Frankie? Good Lord. Indecisive here, guys. It's almost like a tie between everything. 5'8" to 6 feet. All right, well, that is a little bit of a that's like a crazy range. All right, well, yeah, that doesn't really help us. The first one says tiny man less than 5'5". Bro, tiny man is crazy, Tony. But yeah, I am 6 foot. I am literally exactly 6 feet. We actually talked about this recently, and I had Mrs. Candles measure me. I was going to post it in the Discord. I totally forgot. People are like, he's definitely 5'4". He just didn't post it because they didn't want to know. But yeah, I am 6 foot. It's like the number one thing when people meet me. They're like, dude, what the heck? You're taller than I thought. I'm like, I don't know what it is. Do I slouch in my chair or something? I don't know what it is. Maybe that's why my calves are so big. It's because carry around this long-ass body. But anyway, let's continue on. Isaac said, also, can you explain how to use the VWAP on Market Cipher B, or would it be better to use the anchored VWAP? Shout out to Isaac. When I refer to the VWAP on Market Cipher B, this is totally different than the anchored VWAP, right? Like this VWAP, I don't really know. I don't really know why they call it a VWAP. But this, when I refer to the VWAP, I am simply just referring to this white wave here. Or if you're using the default settings, it's I think it's yellow. All this tells me is this is how I predict when the red or green dots is going to come, right? So if I zoom in here, right, you can see once this VWAP comes up, I would say to myself, if the VWAP is right here, I'd say, well, hey, we're probably going to print a green dot very soon. And if we print that green dot, we're probably going to get a bounce, right? So it could kind of help you anticipate that when that VWAP crosses over the 0 line, right, once it crosses over, that is typically on the next candle where you start printing that green dot. And you can see that green dot printing right there. VWAP crosses over. I'll pull this full screen, right? VWAP crosses over the 0 line to the downside, red dot prints, right? And then it comes back up. VWAP crosses over into the over the 0 line, green dot, back over, red dot, crosses back into the, I keep saying into the green, but crosses over the 0 line, green dot prints. So that's all I use this for, right? Anchored VWAP is totally different, right? Anchored VWAP is what you see right here, which is a dynamic level of support and resistance, right? So two totally different things. I have in the beginner series, I have a Market Cipher B tutorial, which will teach you all about Market Cipher B, and I also have an anchored VWAP tutorial that we just recently uploaded that will teach you exactly where to pull this from to help you find sniper entries into your trade, as well as macro trend changes in the market. So definitely check those out if you have not already. Shout out to Ryan Smith, says he ain't 6 foot, he's 5'10". He's just saying he's 6 foot. Shout out to Ryan Smith. It is really funny. I don't see height. Right? I have been friends with people for months. I'll never forget this. I used to work at a place years ago, and I had a friend. And Mrs. Candles met that friend, and she's like, you didn't tell me that he was that short. And I'm like, what? He's my height. She goes, no, he's not. And then I had to talk to him again, and I took notice, and I was like, interesting. I just don't see height. I don't know why it's such a big thing with guys wanting to be tall. If anything, I would sacrifice a few inches to get some stock on me, to be honest, because the taller you are, the harder it is to pack on muscle. So yeah, I don't know. People like I always think it's funny. Like people freak out about height. Like if you insult a man about his height, it's like the end of the world. I don't understand that. Anyway, but let's see. I was 5'11" and 3/4 for like half my life, guys. I was dreaming of hitting that 6-foot level, and I finally did it. I did it, guys. I did it. Low key, still 5 3/4. But anyway, reveal Mrs. Candle. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. I don't think that'll ever happen, guys. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried so hard to show her on camera. She just won't do it. The most she'll give us is a hand, which is good because that hand controls the market. We sniff it, market goes up. We lick it, stick it in our mouth. Sometimes the market goes down. Let's see. Shout out to George's lawyer. Says, I don't see teeth. Terrible for dating. Shout out to George's lawyer. Yeah, I actually have no teeth. No teeth. Chicks cut out the short guys. It's messed up. Yeah, shout out to Silent Q. That's weird. I don't get that. I don't know. Very strange. I care a lot about. I care not about height. Shout out to Erica. There we go. Shout out to Erica. Where's the inflatable Mrs. Candles? Shout out to Hollywood. Hang on 1 second here. Before we jump into the altcoins, guys, I think we should bring Mrs. Candles reveal right now. Oh my God, she's got no clothes on. She's got no clothes on. Hang on 1 second, guys. All right. Guys, this might be why the market is dumping. This is Mrs. Candles right now. This is not good, guys. This is not good. Oh God, Mrs. Candles, don't expose yourself. We're gonna have to blow her up, guys. We're gonna have to blow her up. Oh man, I just realized that she's been in the closet for a while. We're derailed today, guys. Frankie is wild. Shout out to Dwarf Dice. Yeah, I'm like derailed today. I had a color blind electrician on my crew. It was so stressful for me. Shout out to Kalia. That is. Don't touch the black wire. Oh, okay. Anyway, let's continue on. Mrs. Candles, try to pump up a little bit. I'll help you in a second. But let's go ahead and continue on here, guys. So for Bitcoin, just from a simple perspective, just to simplify this for you all, because I know a lot of times all these, crazy levels will confuse a lot of people. Very simply put, we are bing-bonging around. Macro golden pocket rejection. Obviously, we can eventually look for the lower high and the lower low, but the biggest levels right now, you want to hold this golden pocket /786. If we lose this 786, guys, I am fully anticipating a break of the $107,000 low. This is the last place to bounce. If you cannot hold this, I am looking for the cracker structure of $107,000, which we also have a lot of liquidity sitting. Right? No, not here. Well, this is local liquidity. We should talk about this as well, right? This local liquidity is sitting below the current low, 111,474, all the way down to about 110,787, right? So this would kind of support the idea of maybe coming down and sweeping the liquidity below the lows here into the golden pocket, right? So that liquidity sitting down here, you might be able to get something like this before the bounce. But the higher time frames do show us liquidity sitting below $107,000. If I pull this up on the monthly time frame, we can take a look at that real quick. Shout out to Megan. Says, dang, you out here in the closet. Canceled. Shout out to Megan. But yeah, we do have, looking at the monthly time frame here, guys, the next two significant areas of liquidity, again, other than the local liquidity below our current low, we took a look at this yesterday, sitting below about 110K, leading to about 109K, which obviously is sitting below 110K, down to 109K, right? So when we look at this as a volume profile, we have liquidity sitting here. We have liquidity sitting here locally, right? So this could suck us down. If that's not the bounce, maybe we want to fill that whole profile, sweep out the liquidity below the low. And again, that is the last place to bounce before we anticipate to come down and take the larger amount of liquidity, which is sitting below $107,000 in all of its glory right here. down here at $107,000. I would say there's probably more liquidity sitting down here now, but $107,000 liquidity still sitting down there. And the reason I bring that up is because that $107,000 level, guys, is the most important level of support on the chart. Ideally, I would love to hold support on top of that major zone. Golden pocket, value area high, bull market support band. Let's pull up that bull market support band real quick and see where that sits. Yeah, so now we have the bull market support band coming up in this Fibonacci retracement. So it would be really nice, right? Again, although money flow is pointing towards lower highs and lower lows over the long term based off the daily and the 2-day money flow coming out as well. It would be really nice if we did not have to come back down and revisit 107K. And it is nice to see that that bull market support band is right here. So maybe we just have to flush out some of the local liquidity before that bounce. But again, 786 sitting at 109,475 is the real level. You lose that, I'm expecting not only to revisit 107K, but probably break that low. And that would give us that clean look of high, low, lower, high, lower, low. I don't want it to happen, guys. But when money flow looks like the way it is definitely in the cards. So that's what I'm going to be keeping an eye on. So key level of support before 107K, 111,360 to 109,473 with the liquidity. And then on the way back up, don't forget, key level of resistance. Sitting right up here. Major level of resistance, 115,045 all the way up to 115.7. With the honorable mention, right? I don't want to confuse everybody, right? I know there's a lot of levels here. Maybe I'll just make this one big zone. Biggest level of resistance sitting between 114,250 and 115.7. Does that make sense? So we're hoping, right? If you want all-time highs sooner than later, right? You're hoping to hold that 786, get back up in here, and then send it up. Money flow is not pointing towards that. Money flow is definitely pointing more towards something like this. And then, once we get down here, we can reassess the situation and see if we can find some support before finally seeing a new all-time high. So that's the thought process, right? So key support, key resistance. And if you're sitting there with a notebook trying to write all these numbers down and get them on your chart, I'll make it that much simpler for you. Boom. Zone number 1. Zone number 2. There you go. You can write these down, get them on your chart. Or you could join the premium Discord and get my actual chart imported into your trading view. So you don't have to do any of the TA. But anyway, let's see. Shout out to Tones says, thank you. I needed this clarity. Shout out to Tones. I don't know if you're talking about the chart clarity, but anytime, bro. That's why we're here. I just took a short and a long at the same time. Shout out to Megan. Let's go. May the odds forever be in your favor. Heads or tails, doesn't matter. I'm picking heads and tails, baby. Which is honestly, could that play out sometimes? For sure. I'm not going to pretend like that's not something I used to try when I was first learning how to trade. Let me just get all this off the chart real quick. But the problem is, right, the market doesn't just go like, and again, it can work, right? If this is your level, you go short, you go long, right? But sometimes price will go, oh my God, my long's playing out, right? And then it stops you out of the long. You're like, now my short's playing out, right? And then it goes up, right? So it's not as easy, but hey, maybe it's worth a shot. Shout out to Megan. May the odds forever be in your favor. May the crypto gods be in your favor. Let's see. Yes, sir. Chart clarity. Shout out to Tones. That's why we're here, brother. Shout out to Rodolfo says, bro is arbitraging. That's a good term. Peep the 48-hour liquidations. Hey, don't threaten me with a good time. Let's check them out. Shout out to Crypto Night. Or no, who said that? Shout out to Tones. So there you go. Yeah, and also, I was actually looking at this before, too. Local liquidity sitting above here as well. Again, this would be local. This would be local, right? It's like above these highs. So could have some liquidity sitting up here, right? Which obviously is confluent here. This liquidity hotspot does start at about 113.4 up to about 113.8, 113.4 or 113.333, right? And the idea here, right? If you kind of want to understand how liquidity works, right? You have this wick up here, right? Price comes down, retracement. A lot of people will be looking for shorts up here, adding liquidity to the high, and then price sometimes likes to come up, sweep out that liquidity, and then send it back down. So yeah, there is local liquidity up there. Hey, maybe that could potentially be, I would hope that if we get a bounce, we can get it a little bit higher, whether we have to come down first or not. I would hope the bounce would come up a little bit higher. But, hey, in an aggressive downtrend, right, not impossible to just come out and sweep some of this liquidity. Maybe you don't even make it up to the 114,250 level, and then you get the move to the downside, and you can look for that SFP here. But me personally, depending on what the chart looked like up here, I would rather see these bigger levels get hit. But definitely local liquidity sitting up there. Shout out to Tones. Thanks for pointing that out. Shout out to Meek Vision. Says, Frankie, no future grid bots set up. Shout out to Meek. I actually have messed around a lot with futures grid bots. I like to be a little bit careful with the bots, not for like my own trading, but I like to be careful not trying to pitch futures bots as like this easy way to just print free money. But I will be honest, I have done videos a long time ago, like in the beginning of the channel, about future grid bots, and I've had very good success with them. Obviously, nothing is guaranteed, but I think I made a video where I set them up live. I did very well with those futures grids bots. Let me know in the chat if you guys want to see a video about that. I could show you guys how to set them up. I think Femex has future grid bots. I could show you guys. Maybe we'll run a little bit of an experiment. I'll throw a few grand into some grid bots, and we'll see if I get wrecked or make money. If you guys want to see that, I'll show you how to set them up and all that. And maybe you'll watch me lose money or make money. Either way, it'll be entertaining. How much is the premium Discord? Will you have a sale soon? Shout out to Ryan Smith. The premium Discord, if you go to frankiecandlestrading.com, we have different plans. I think if you do the monthly, I think it's like $2 a day. I think it's like $50, $60 a month or something like that. But you could also do like annual. I think there's a 6-month plan. If you go to frankiecandlestrading.com, you'll see all of the tiers. Probably for Black Friday. Last year we did a big blowout Black Friday sale before we raised the prices. I was like, we're going to raise the prices, guys, and we probably will raise them again. But right before we did that, we're like, we'll give everybody a chance to get in here even cheaper. So yeah, we probably will have some sales going on towards Black Friday, some pretty good ones as well. I've always done good with 10x bots, especially back in the KuCoin days. Shout out to Crypto Night. That was the last place. That was the last place that I had my futures grid bots. Futures grid bots. Was on KuCoin. They did very well. And I didn't even have a lot of money in them either. I made like a few grand. Low stress. You don't have to manage it. You just set it and forget it. Frankie, after 50 years, you will be remembered, and people will say, may Frankie Candles be with us. Shout out to Perry. Wait until you guys find out that I'm Satoshi. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding. No, Frankie will live forever. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. That is the goal. That is the goal. We will live forever, and that is why I don't ever drink energy drinks, guys, because it shortens your lifespan. I only drink water. It's the only thing I drink. Could we look at Bitcoin dominance? Yeah, I'll take a look at Bitcoin dominance before we jump into the altcoins. But that's the plan for Bitcoin, guys. Very, very simple, right? Just sitting in my long, sitting in my short, waiting for the next key levels. You now know who they are. If you just tuned in, scrub back to the beginning of the stream, and you get all the sauce. This is water, guys. I just get the can. I fill it up with water. Anyway, yeah, let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. Not really a ton to update here. We've been checking this every day, so I'm trying to stay off it for a little bit, but it is worth checking in on. Bitcoin dominance. Got a little pop up here. We looked at this 2-day bullish divergence that we were printing. Very likely to cause volatility to the upside, but at the end of the day, guys, if we see more turbulence here, especially on the altcoins, just understand, right? This Bitcoin dominance looks weak from a trend perspective, from a high time frame perspective. 2-day money flow in the red, 3-day money flow finally crossing into the red. But when you see the 2-day bullish divergence forming, when you see the daily money flow starting to come back up into the green, I actually don't even really like this, to be quite honest, right? This could potentially bing bong around, but typically that daily money flow crossover is the big thing, right? Maybe we come up a little bit and then back down. That's pretty much what happened here. You came back up. All right, if I pull this into bar replay mode, you can see this actually started to look a little bit. I can't do bar replay mode on dominance. That's kind of annoying. But we're hoping that this daily money flow stays in the red, right? It's still plenty of room here to kind of come up and then leak back into the red. Again, very similar to what we saw back here, right? If I could cut this off, it's like, oh my God, daily money flow's coming into the green. Can you guys see this? Right? Oh my God, daily money flow is coming up, and then it just leaks back out. That's kind of what we're hoping for. But I wouldn't even say the money flow crossover on the daily is the biggest warning sign. It could just help us with a little bit of a retracement, which is, even if we push up into this golden pocket 786, this would be a huge level, especially based off the 2-day money flow, which is still in the red, the 3-day money flow, which is just crossed over into the red, very early crossover. This is why I say Bitcoin dominance looks weak from a high time frame perspective. So you could get that retracement for the lower high, eventually to continue the lower low and the bigger collapse. Hopefully, assisting alt season, guys. Hopefully. I really pray. I don't think I do think my overall thought process here, guys, is that Bitcoin is, again, I hate to be repetitive. But if my sentiment doesn't change, I just have to keep repeating the same thing, unfortunately. My thought process here is as long as we can stay above $107,000 and even some lower levels as well, but as of right now, we could stay above 107K, I do still think that we could be entering the final phase of this bull market, right? These are kind of the two options. We're either entering the final phase or the top is in at 125K. As long as we don't break macro structure here, I still think we could be in that final phase of the bull market for hopefully another last little parabolic top on Bitcoin, and then the alt season comes in. This can take time. We could see it happen in October, right? We can even look in the past. I won't do it. I'll just save time today. But it might not happen tomorrow. It might not happen next week. This could go into Q4, into October, maybe even into November and December, right? This is typically, right? If we, I guess I will every time it's Q4, right? So it almost is too pretty, right? It'd be almost is that really going to happen again, right? I hope so, right? And this is kind of the, history doesn't always repeat, but it oftentimes rhymes. So even with my money flow coming out, more bearish scenario, even breaking the lows here, we still have some key levels that we can hold above before continuing up. But, we could just run into Q4, right? If we're not running into Q4 or, near Q4, near December, January, that's where it starts to get alarming, right? So there's still plenty of time, or I wouldn't say plenty of time, but we're kind of running out of time, honestly. It's we got to get going pretty quickly here, but it's all kind of lining up. Bitcoin dominance starting to look weak, right? Alts are going to start to hopefully run towards the end of the cycle. We have the looser monetary policy. If the 25 basis points is enough, it is still lining up, right? So I do still think this could be the final phase of the bull market, the most exciting phase of the bull market. But you just have to have the wherewithal to kind of stomach the volatility, right? This is crypto, guys, right? Volatility is crazy. You just have to be able to stomach this stuff. And if you just came in to crypto and you started entering up here, it's just a difficult position, right? It's just you entered very late in the cycle. It's not to say that Bitcoin can't continue to the upside and put in a new all-time high, but it is just a little bit more of a sketchy kind of pucker fest up here than it is when you're buying at the bottom of the bear market or even on these bull market dips. So yeah, I do think the final phase of the bull market is getting very close. Doesn't mean it's guaranteed, obviously. Not financial advice. I know we're right very often. I know we could call the tops, we call the bottoms very often. But I never want someone to watch this and be like, well, this guy said it's going to happen. I like to fight against that because I think a lot of the YouTube crypto community is they like to cling to somebody telling them what's going to happen. And a lot of those people are sometimes not the best at admitting that they could be wrong. They're just kind of you're an idiot if you don't think this. I'm not like that, right? I'm very data driven. If I think the top is in, I'm going to call for it. I don't care if I think I'm going to get more clicks if I say it's going up or not. And the good thing for you guys is, right, you're going to get actual database information. You're not just going to get hopium that's going to get you wrecked time and time again, right? Everyone thought this would go into 100K. So anyway, but not me. And I don't say that to brag. I just say that because if you know how to read the charts, right, there were huge signs of weakness here, right? It's nothing magical. You could learn how to do this too. But I do think the final phase of the bull market is potentially coming in here. We still have the open door. We have not broken down any key levels. We're still above the bull market support band. So just keep that in mind. Maybe record the stream, everyone. Shout out to Jesse. Hey, record the stream. Volume profile is important, but volume is nothing without liquidity to fill it. Shout out to New Earth Guardian. I love it, brother. I love it. Liquidity and volume profiles are one of the deadliest combos in trading. I would agree with that. Shout out to Dave Digital in the chat. What is going on, bro? Welcome in. It was cutting out for me, but it sounds better now that I reopened the stream. Yeah, shout out to Julie. Recently, guys, we've been having a lot of trouble with people saying that the audio is cutting out. We have some people being like, no, it's fine, dude. And then those people have to reload the stream. I don't know why that happens. Let's see. BNB, shout out to Satoshi Chronicles, said BNB targets. I will take a look at BNB today. I'm going to start off with Ethereum. Obviously, we looked at Ethereum yesterday. That's Bitcoin. Let's pull up Ethereum here. That's Bitcoin as well. Where is it? I moved this stuff around. I keep getting lost. There we go. All right, so Ethereum's still kind of bing-bonging around below the value area low, right? And this is, obviously, we looked at this. I'm not going to cover this too much, right? We compared this to this price action, right? It's just simple law of the volume profile. Deviation above, break back into the range, can't get out, back in. Next target is the POC. After that, your next target is the value area low. We looked at this on Friday, saying, like, I'm expecting to fulfill this range, and we got it, right? Again, not magic, not bragging, just the way the volume profiles typically work. And then you start looking at it in cooperation with the money flow coming out, right? Once that 4-hour money flow crosses over, it's like super high probability you're going to fill that range in full. So this is not, at least like right here, is not a place where I would look to enter a fresh short on Ethereum. Why? I've already missed most of the move, right? Even if it continues down, right? Like, this is not a place where I would be looking for a short. We're below the volume profile. You don't, unfortunately, have the bullish divergences, right? I guess, yeah, you don't really have divergences down here. You do have momentum coming up. You have the green dot printing. You know, if you could reclaim this value area low, we could see a retracement, very similar to Bitcoin if we get the bounce from where we're at right now. But based off our money flow on the significant time frames, not the 80-minute, but look at the 4-hour, right? This money flow stays in the red. Even here, right? I would prefer another drop down, just like on Bitcoin, right? Like I would rather see another drop down, see the another nice little 4-hour bullish divergence. If we can get this 4-hour to print the red dot, maybe we can get some kind of 4-hour bull div. That would be a better scenario, in my opinion, to look for a bounce back up. But from where we are right now, the key levels that I would personally be looking at. Let me extend this profile real quick and see how much the levels change, because we are still within the area of balance, right? So I will update this profile. Like this. We can get rid of this blue box. Whoops. So let's see if we can find any confluence here, right? So I'll pull from the high to the low. Don't have any dailies down there. I got a daily up here. That's a monthly. Whoops. Let's see. Find any daily MPOCs. Yeah, no daily MPOC. You have it up here, right? So this can be daily MPOC, right? So you have some confluence here, daily horizontal, daily MPOC, and then here you have another daily MPOC. Let's check the weekly. Yeah, you don't have a weekly until you get back up towards the high of that range. Oh, no, that weekly's right there. All right, so I would say the next significant area of confluence is going to be in the 44.72 to 45.21 zone. Now, I'll clean this up to make it a little bit easier to look at for you guys. Let's pull this to the full. All right, let's come down to a lower time frame now. So let me just hide this macro resistance that we've already rejected. So these are the key levels I would look at on ETH if we get a bigger bounce to the upside. You got your value area high, 786. You also have your golden pocket with all those MPOCs up in there, right? So these would be the biggest levels, in my opinion. I would love if we had a little bit more confluence down here. This is also PLC value area low would be a very, very aggressive level of resistance to look at. But again, like we don't have any dailies. We don't have any MPOCs down here. So I would still say more of the confluence is up here. Doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get a move back up there. But like I would love if you could pull from here to here, right? I just wish this was more confluent. If this looked something like that, right, that would be much better. Maybe we could find that somewhere on a super lower time frame. There you go. But that's super hyper local. I would probably just ignore that Fibonacci retracement and just look at this as its own zone. POC value area low. I would still favor these higher levels, and it's just for a very clear reason, guys. Like, look at that confluence. What do we have down here? 2 levels. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, no, 5. 6 if you count both of the golden pocket levels. If you count the golden pocket as 1, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So massive, massive confluence, and then down here, just an honorable mention, right? Value area low is always going to be a level of resistance until proven otherwise, right? And when you have relative equal highs, liquidity usually lies above there. So similar to Bitcoin, right? If you look at this as a range, right, you could potentially look for potential sweeps of liquidity before coming back down, but I wouldn't be as interested in that. Me personally, I would either let this come up and reject and just let it go, or I would rather see moves into here. So those are the key levels. Number 1, 4262 to 4300, POC value area low. And then the big zone of resistance sits really between about 4472 and 4526. And if you get above this level, you're just always going to be anticipating the value area high, which would make a lot of sense, right? Get back up here. POC is next. Or I'm sorry, POC. Get above here. POC is next. Get above there. You're looking to fill the rest of that volume profile. But with all the confluence here, I would not be surprised if you got the rejection from there. If not, you just look for it to fill the volume profile as you would typically expect, right? So those are the key levels for Ethereum. And then looking at money flow and market cipher B here. Take a look at the daily. Right, daily money flow coming out pretty aggressively, right? Bitcoin's already crossed over into the red. Ethereum is following suit. If I want a massive move on Ethereum, guys, I want the opposite of this. This is money flow coming out, indicating the trend is more likely to continue to the downside. This indicates more that if you get that daily green dot, you're probably going to get a lackluster retracement for a lower high and a lower low. I'm not saying you have to come all the way down to 3,600, but funny enough, that is our macro level of support, right? Not impossible to come down here. I'm going to save you guys the repetitiveness of going over the exact situation, comparing it to Bitcoin, but just take my word for it. If we continue down, this bigger level of support is going to be the really important one, right? 3,530 all the way up to 3,600. Huge level of support that we want to hold. But until then, we're just going to be looking to trade this as a range, right? I don't personally trade ETH that much, but if I were, I'd be looking to trade this range. That's exactly what I'd be watching. But daily money flow coming out, like that's what gives me the anticipation of lower highs and lower lows. So what we looked at to call the moves on Bitcoin that we've seen, it's the same thing on Ethereum, guys. Like, and I do this, invert it, right? Like we would want to see money flow looking like this if we wanted a big move to the upside. Right? You would want the money flow being in the red, about to cross into the green. This, if the chart looked like this, my anticipation would be like, oh my God, guys, I'm longing the heck out of this for a big move and a big continuation of the trend to the upside. But that's not what we have. I just inverted the colors and flipped a market cipher B upside down. We literally have the opposite. Right? And you can just backtest this to help you. Right? Here's a nice little consolidation. Right? Money flow crosses into the red. What is the anticipation here? Right? Continuation of the downtrend. Does it? And it's like, oh my God, what happened? I thought money flow was coming out. Or I thought we were supposed to dump. It's like, yes, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Continuation of the overall trend. Money flow indicates the overall trend. It's a filter to let you know whether you're better off shorting the highs and riding the trend or longing the lows for massive moves up. When market cipher looks like this, the idea is short the highs, continue down. So doesn't mean that Ethereum can't just break out, but you are literally looking to fade money flow completely. And we already kind of got a fake out here on the daily, right? Money flow comes down, right? And then it saves and comes into a bigger green wave. I wouldn't be surprised if it's time to spend a little time in the red and get a bigger correction. Nothing to be really that concerned about, at least as of right now. But I would anticipate more downside, even if we push into those key levels of resistance. So there you go. That's what I would look at on Ethereum, or Erythrium, as your grandmother might call it. Shout out to Jennifer, says, what is going on, bro? Shout out to Jennifer. Welcome in. I'm chilling. I don't know if you're talking to me or somebody in chat, but shout out to Jennifer. Welcome in. Megan says, how do you smoke loud? Dave says, loud describes the intensity of the ganja. Shout out to Dave Digital. 4K, then 12K. Who said it? It's gone forever. I lost it. Where'd it go? Oh, 4K, then 12K. Capital Nomad. 4K. Yeah, I mean, 4K is an important level, right? Not only is the PLC this range, but it's also your macro 786, right? I think it's like 4,080. This is a huge level you want to stay above. You can lose it momentarily to retest the value area high, which, again, is sitting towards about 36 to 35.30. Ignore this actual value area high. But ideally, this is your doorway to higher prices, right? Meaning doorway to all-time highs, doorway to 5,000 and above. We can lose this momentarily, right? We've seen Bitcoin do this. I said I wasn't going to explain this, but I will. We saw Bitcoin do this in the past. Fib from the high to the low. That's your doorway to all-time highs. This is what we looked at on Bitcoin. Your macro range comes in right here, right? You look for the break above the high. You retest it. You lose it to retest the value area high, and then you go. Very similar to what we have on Ethereum. It's the same exact thing, right? Macro, this is a different macro range. we are looking at this range, right, which doesn't really change the value area high, but pretty much the same thing, right? You can tap it, you can lose it, retest the value area high. That's why I say that 36 to 35.30 is the real level you want to hold to keep the doorway to all-time highs open. You can lose it a little bit, but you really want to break back above, reclaim it to send it up. This is your door, and ideally, we just stay above it, right? That would be absolutely beautiful. Stay on top of the 786, bing bong, right into your next Fibonacci extension. So there you go. Let's go ahead and jump into Solana real quick. I'll just do a quick cover here. Same thing on Solana, right? 786 is your doorway to higher prices. If you flip on top of it, you can look for the break of structure of the upside. This is what we were explaining yesterday. But obviously, that 786 is also a major level of resistance that you could put in a high, a low, a lower high, and a potential lower low. I'm not expecting this on Solana. Hopefully. That's not what I'm expecting, right? But it is a major, major level of resistance. So your goal here on Solana, just looking at a clean chart, right? I'll bring up the all the key levels in a second. But the idea here is like if you can get the pullback, right? It's like not that bad, but you really want to eventually, this is your doorway to higher prices sitting at 250, 217. That's what opens the door to your all-time highs, right? So wake me up when Solana breaks above that level, to be honest. But when we take a look at our actual current chart here, obviously last week I said, I was waiting for this level. We had some local levels of support here. Could you get a bounce? Sure. Did we get a bounce? Yeah. But with our 4-hour money flow, which was also looking more bearish on Solana, coming to the downside, with bearish divergences confirmed into your key level of resistance, which is the value area high, 786. There's that same 786 I just showed over here, right? 786 value area high. This is where you want to look for shorts. You get the bearish divergences with money flow coming out. When you see bearish divergences like this and money flow coming out at the same time, it is oftentimes signs of a significant top, right? Not the top for the bull market, right? But just a significant top for a trend to the downside. So, we were looking at some local levels here. We had a local Fibonacci retracement. Could you bounce there? Sure. Am I interested in that? No. Why? I would rather wait for the bigger level down here based off our money flow. The money flow avoided potential bad long positions here. You could have longed this, I guess, right? Like a little scalp. Could have made a quick little, 2.5% to 3%. But again, waiting for that bigger zone to get hit. And here we are, right? Golden Pocket POC 786. You lose the 786, guys. Very simple. 786 sits here at about 211.24. You're hoping to hold this. And then, ideally, you would break out here. Again, money flow not necessarily pointing towards that. So I would say if you cannot hold this 786 or just like break it and reclaim it very quickly, lose this. Value area low is the next stop for me, 192.72. I'm not going to cover this much longer just because this is all the same stuff that we looked at yesterday. Daily money flow also coming out. So be aware of that. Not impossible. This is your range. Value area low, 192.72. POC sitting at 216.79. And then your value area high up here at 248. Last thing I want to mention is this level up here, monthly naked point of control in confluence with the daily. We did not tap this level. So if we do come back up, so understand this is a huge level. I mean, it makes sense because it's the 786. Like this could be resistance, but once you flip it, again, this is your doorway to all-time highs, in my opinion. So whether we have to rotate this entire range again, right, and then come back in and then break out, I don't know exactly how it's going to play out. But just be aware of that resistance above. And I will actually just move that purple box up there, right? Because these are naked. These are tapped. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Again, I don't really love money flow here, so I'm not going to be surprised if we see more downside. Same thing as yesterday. Taking a look at XRP real quick. Where's it at? Where's it at? Where's it at? Bada boom. XRP back above the 786. We looked at XRP yesterday, pulling up this local level of resistance. Fibonacci, 786 golden pocket, value area low confluence. We got the push up and the rejection from the golden pocket. Overall, I'm not going to cover like the nitty gritty here on XRP. I'm just going to show you kind of the big levels that you do not want to lose. And it's kind of the 786 here. Not kind of. It is, right? This 786. If you cannot hold this, which I am going to be very suspicious of filling this wick, right? But if you lose this 786 decisively, unless you come fill this wick and then get a super big bounce, you can't get back above that 786, guys. I'm expecting 250 to 260. Other than that, not a lot has changed. Still set up here on Market Cypher B for a potential bullish divergence, but you need the lower low for that to be in... yeah, and it's just like you don't really have a significant level down here to put that lower low in at, right? Like, do we have a daily MPOC maybe on that wick? Nope. A weekly MPOC in the wick? Nope. Yeah, I mean, you just don't really have anything down there. So, You really got to get back in this range. You got to flip this. And now I can move this because we already rejected the golden pocket. You got to get back above this value area low 786, right, in order to get back in this range. But other than that, if you can't get back in this range, guys, and we are indeed going to see a bigger move down, 2-day money flow back in the red, 3-day money flow. Let me hide this. I try to keep the bigger screen up open for you guys so you can see a bit better. You got the 3-day red dot printing, 4-day money flow crossover into the red. Money flow's kind of still choppy. 5-day money flow coming out. 6-day money flow kind of coming out. Red dot confirmed. Weekly red dot printing. Yeah. Next biggest level if we get another drop on XRP, guys. 250 to 260. More specifically, 258 down to 251.9, right? 252. This is the next big level. It's your golden pocket retracement of this entire move up. So can't hold up here. I'm looking down there. And you really want to hold that. And then your last line of defense on XRP, in my opinion, I would probably be flipping more macro bearish on XRP if you lose this 786 at about 227, 230, right? Because if, from a very simple perspective, you wanted to put in a higher low and a higher high, this is the zone to do it, right? Keep that trend going. Hopefully we don't have to deal with it, but if we do, just anticipate that range, right? Really 250 to 260 down to about 230 on the 786. So that's what I'll be looking at on XRP. Other than that, kind of the same old story there with shout out to Megan that says, guys, what if your coin don't move? Shout out to Megan. I don't know. Diversification is all I can say. Always DCA into the stat list coins, not poop coins. Shout out to Megan. Everybody say hype, please. We could try to take a look at hype. BNB. Yeah, let's take a look at BNB real quick. So yeah, BNB, this was like one of those early signs, right? It's like BNB is typically a first mover. It's an exchange token. Looking nice here, right? Like new all-time highs. Like this is BNB is like in its own a little alt season here. It's pretty hilarious. But really all I can do with this, right, is kind of give you the I could give you all-time high targets, right? I can almost guarantee you that if we pull up our extension levels, we're kind of clinging to some of these. Yeah, so you played around in your first zone right here. Right, little chop, a little rejection, little chop, flip it to support, break back out. I would say the next target to the upside for BNB is going to be, just pull this one. Yeah, I'd be looking up here. 1131 to 1242. That's really the next Fibonacci extension target. And if I really wanted to pull like macro targets, I would pull from 2021 high, which technically was up here, to the low. So these would be the bigger targets. Gives you a little bit of a, yeah, so this would probably be, you know, you might reject some intermediary levels, but I would say long term, right, you're going to always have local resistance levels, right, if you pull more local fibs. You can see you got a little bit right here. But at the end of the day, the bigger target would be about 1338 to 1514. And I just mentioned the more local fib pull. You can just scrub back and get those numbers. I'll just give them to you. Yeah, I'll pull it from here to here. And then the more local fib, 1131 to 1242, right? But the bigger bull market target, right, if we're really going to go into like alt season, this would be like a big area to look to get clung up on. And then you break above that, you're looking into like the $2,000 zone up here on that last fib zone. So yeah, there you go. There's the BNB targets. Whoever asked for BNB, they asked specifically for targets. That's why I said that. But for moves to the downside, I will just give you some local levels here as well. I'll pull some MPOCs. Let's see here. Let's pull up monthlies. So you got a monthly MPOC right here, which is nice because this is confluent. I don't know if you're going to get that big retracement, but if you did, this will be the place to look, in my opinion. Monthly MPOC value area high. I'll mark off the volume profile as well. All right, previous area of balance. This is important, right? This isn't just some random range. This is a previous area of balance, right? If we got some massive dump to the downside, right, you're probably going to get clung up inside of this area of balance, right? Whoa, let me undo that. Bada boom. All right, so, and I'll just mark off these levels so we can get the actual prices. So you get your monthly MPOC there. You got a weekly MPOC just slightly below that. And I will clean up the chart so it's nice and easy for you guys to see. Got another weekly MPOC here. Weekly MPOC here. Weekly MPOC here. And dailies are probably going to be all over the place, so I might sit these out. Yeah, these are just all over. So I'm just going to mark off the daily horizontals. Got one right here. And if it is confluent with the daily MPOC, I will mark off that MPOC. Got like a cluster of MPOCs there. Is this daily tapped? That daily is tapped. That daily is tapped. This daily is naked. All the naked levels, guys. Put some clothes on. All right, so kind of hard to pull out like any kind of volume profile in that trending price action, but I would say you do have somewhat of a, yeah, I would say like 882 down to about 850. That would be somewhat of a level. You got 2 weekly MPOCs, so you got a weekly MPOC cluster there. So you could look at that as some kind of a local level of support. And then you got a random daily down there. Let's pull some fibs. Let me see where. Let's pull it from the impulse. Weekly MPOC. I mean, I just don't know how quickly we're going to get down there. So I would definitely mark off this value area high. That's a major level. Again, I don't know if you're going to get down there, but it's definitely a big level to hold. Why is that? Well, if you break through all this and you start melting down, it's a big level to watch, in my opinion, right? If we pull the, let's pull from, yeah, I don't really know where to pull this from. It's just such long price. Yeah, you got your macro golden pocket up in there. Definitely a big level. I would say like huge level if you get a massive dump down, which I'm not necessarily expecting right now. 694 to 652. It's other than that, like you got to deal with these like kind of local. Yeah, like I don't want to give you too many levels here, but these would be some local. I'll just give you these 2 local levels. Whoops. So if you get a retracement, this would be kind of the first level I would look at. Let's pull it to here. Yeah, bottom of that zone pulls on that fib. So, yeah, I would say like local zone here, 937 to 916, and then you have the 786 zone between 892 and 853. But other than that, kind of hard to just like do anything legit here other than look at the Fibonacci retracements with confluence. So those are the levels I would watch on BNB. And again, if you get some kind of major collapse, right, like this would be a huge level to hold. You don't want to break back down into that range. So there you go. Daily money flow looking a bit more healthy than everything else, right? Just kind of like sustained up in here. Yeah, I don't know. Binance is kind of sketchy there. I don't know why this thing is propped up. Do have some bear divs forming here on the 2-day. 3-day bear div looking to print. So you might be able to cool off a bit. So these would be the first levels to look at. Breakdown below that, 767 down to the bigger level at about 693 to 655. So, yeah, we'll see. And you got the upper targets as well. But watch these bearish divergences. Money flow looks strong here, though, if I'm being honest. So this point, with all this money flow coming up, higher lows and higher highs are probably the higher probability case. Watch this zone right here. So there you go. There is BNB. Shout out to Original Dukes. Thank you for getting that membership, bro. Welcome to the Mafia. You can't leave now, bro. You can't leave now. You're locked in forever. Shout out to you. Shout out to A said, I'm behind the stream about 11 minutes, but I love the grandma pronunciation references. Mine used to say Solanzda or Slazda for salsa. Yo, that's hilarious. And fettuccine for fettuccine. Shout out to Ace. Let's go. Yeah, I love when like the older generation like tries to pronounce stuff wrong. It's hilarious. In a fun way, not a mean way. Hype. All right, yeah, we'll take a look at hype. No problemo. Shout out to DJ Mac. Said, Frank, you got any miners, and what is your thoughts on them? Shout out to DJ Mac. Yeah, I'm actually a mining whale. I own a huge like a piece of land with. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't have any miners. What is my thoughts on them? I mean, I think it's obviously harder to be profitable at this point. But yeah, no, I don't run any miners. I don't really have any experience mining or anything like that. I wish I had a better story. But yeah. Let's see. My thoughts on miners is I wish I mined Bitcoin on my laptop back in 2010. That's my thoughts on mining. What if Bitcoin today closes below 112K? Doesn't this bring us the old range? Doesn't this bring the old range in play, 110.5 to 109, and so on? Shout out to Lucia. Let's take a look at that real quick before we jump into hype. If we close below 112K, doesn't that bring the previous range into play? I assume you're talking about this previous range. Yeah, I mean, I think this is the range you're talking about probably. Is it impossible? Yeah, I'm for sure, right? Like, if you look at this from a volume profile perspective, you get into the range, you can't get out, you can't get out, you can't get out, you can't get out. You start moving towards the POC. And again, we're bouncing off a daily here. I'd feel much better if we tested the POC for a bigger move out, which is why I still kind of prefer a bigger drop to the downside to play with this zone. But absolutely, I would say this range is in play right now, right? You know, if we get a retracement and you break above this value area high, I mean, you could definitely break back out and come into the bigger zone of resistance sitting up here. But yeah, like, I mean, as long as you're below this range, right? We can't get out, 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 right? Like, well, at this point, like, this is still your major resistance. And as long as you remain inside this range, the doorway to the POC is open. And by the way, the POC does sit at exactly 111,226, right? And we also have liquidity sitting down here. And, you know, if you can't get the strong bounce off that golden pocket, right, not necessarily to bring you to all-time highs, but for that bigger retracement, right, well, if you lose this, right, you could come flush out that liquidity and fill your range in full. So, yeah, I would say this range is in play right now. But it doesn't guarantee, right? And here's the thing, right, like, it's... Yeah, I mean, your value area high is just your key level of resistance, 112,948, right? If we come back up here, you can project it for a third time. Like, look at Ethereum, right? The Ethereum range that we looked at. You know, it's kind of hard. Like, when you're looking at the volume profiles, oftentimes they will play very nicely, very cleanly. But here, it's like you get the deviation above the high. You can't break out. You go back down, playing around in the range, and it's like, oh, my God, we're bullish. It's like, I don't know, right? We're accepted into the range, right? You know the value area high is going to be your key level of resistance, and for what it's worth, before I extended this profile a few minutes ago, like, this value area high was like down here. But even then, right, like, you try to break out, like, money flow is coming out. I would still anticipate the POC to come in. So I would say that range on Bitcoin is in play right now. Doesn't mean that you can't break back out of it. It's like an if this then that scenario, right? If we come back up and you catch resistance on the value area high, like, maybe this is just a super messy kind of range, and then you come down to the POC. I would feel much better about a push through this POC if we came down to test that, or through this value area high if we came down to test these levels first. So yeah, yeah, I would say this is in play. Shout out to Vegas Claw, says, all right, I'll relax. Vegas Claw, what are you doing in the chat? Don't be dropping Drake memes, bro. Says Dave Digital. Oh, here it is. Dave Digital is the kind of guy to fart in the toilet and flush it. Go. Shout out to Vegas Claw, bro. I don't know why those Drake memes make me laugh so hard. They're hilarious. Shout out to Jack, said, Frankie saved my life. Shiz. Shout out to Jack. Let's go, baby. We're out here saving lives one at a time. Welcome in, Jack. New Earth said, y'all are too much. I'm going to chill. Yo, shout out to New Earth. Shout out to Meek Vision, said it does work, and Frankie is the best for the task. Shout out to Meek Vision. I don't know exactly what you're referring to there, but I just agree with you. I agree. I am the man for the task. Sign me up. Sign me up. All right, let's take a look at hype real quick. A lot of requests for hype. Let's take a look at that by bit perpetual chart, and look at that, guys. This is why, right? Like, a lot of people are just like, oh my God, now what? We're bouncing. Oh my God, what? Oh my God, now we're bouncing again. Oh my God, now we're right? Here's the key level we've been looking at on hype. And actually, we can update this, right? Because it actually pulls, we made another high here, right? So you can actually update this fib, right? But generally, that zone here was on the golden pocket 786, which again does slightly move up because we made a new high, but still remains the same zone. This is the level I would wait for. Key level of resistance up here, key level of support down here, right? Until we either come into the retracement zone or come into the extension zone or come into the retracement zone. Like there's no reason to watch every up or down on the chart, right? I think like one of the biggest skills you can learn as a trader is like have your level set alerts, walk away from the chart, right? You don't have to stress yourself out on the 1 minute, right? Like looking at every single up and down. Like you're going to ignore all this noise when you just have the bigger key levels in mind, right? And marked out. And guess what? you're probably going to get bigger reactions, or you have a higher probability chance of getting a big reaction off of the big levels than you do on any of these like tiny little intermediary levels that you have here, right? You want to identify the key levels on the chart and then relax until those levels get hit. And I don't remember the last time we looked at hype, but I'm sure it was days, if not weeks ago, and we were up here. It's like, wake me up when it gets down here. And then I know a lot of people, because I was a beginner on the charts as well. It's like, well, what about now? It's like, just relax, right? Just let price play out. If it doesn't get to your level, it's okay, right? But here you are. More often than not, you will come down to that level. And sound the alarm. Sound the alarms. We're at the level, guys. Golden Pocket POC Confluence. Anchored VWAP. This is actually a pretty significant level in my personal opinion, right? And yeah, I mean, it's a pretty big zone. Your Golden Pocket 786, it's this broad zone, sits between 44.64 and 40.43. I'll mark off this volume profiles just so we can get like just clean this up a bit. Got your POC, anchored VWAP confluence. And you got your value area low. I wish there was a cleaner way to separate this, right? Like there's one big key level. And then, and actually we can separate this. Your next key level will be down here. So I'll separate this into two zones. Same macro zone, but just separate it into like two bigger key levels, right? The idea here is like, well, hey, if we're looking at this Fibonacci retracement from the low all the way to the high, and you're looking for higher lows and higher highs, right? Well, that golden pocket will be a place to at least look for a bounce. Now, what are the probabilities of the higher low coming in here? Not every Fibonacci retracement is created equal. Not every Fibonacci retracement is guaranteed to give you a higher low just because it's an area that it could come in at, right? And now how do you identify if it's likely that you're going to put in a higher low and a higher high here, right? Just continue that macro uptrend breaking structure to the upside. Well, we can use money flow to help us identify that, right? Well, let's take a look at the daily. Interesting. Daily money flow super chopped up here. Not really much to take away from there. Take a look at the 2-day. 2-day, much cleaner story here. If you have a lot of noise on the lower time frames, guys, very simple. Just shuffle it up to the higher time frames. 4-hour money flow crossing into the red. So like even here, right? Same thing as Bitcoin, right? It's like 4-hour money flow crosses into the red while you're looking for a continuation down. And if you were to take that short, you would be able to take that position, right? And you know the target. The target is going to be towards that golden pocket or even the 786 Fibonacci retracement. I didn't take this trade, obviously, but you would be pretty nice profits there, about 20%. But 4-hour money flow still deep in the red. Let's check the 8-hour. 8-hour money flow coming out. 6-hour money flow, fine. Yeah, so this money flow looks the same as Bitcoin. So I would still look at this, right? Like potential area to take the bounce, get the bounce from. Lower highs and lower lows is the higher probability, in my opinion, right? And again, you could see how like kind of chopped up the daily is. It's like, red, green, ugh. 2-day, smoothly trending out here, right? Just like tells a cleaner story. So let me check the lower time frames here. Do you have any? Let's take a look. Yeah, I would still like another drop here, to be quite honest. All right, you tapped in the first level of the golden pocket. I would love to push down in there to tap the POC. Get some bullish divergences down there. You might be able to get a bounce. I would personally be looking at that as a lackluster retracement for lower highs and lower lows. Where that lower high comes in at this point is kind of difficult, right? We have all these lower highs to pull from. Full golden pocket retracement sits probably way far away. So let me get rid of this. And you can just see how those extension levels play out. Right? We looked at these extension levels. This is pulled from the high of the range to the low of the range. If you break out here, the big level to get resistance on are those extension levels. They're like magic, guys. They're like literal magic. Look at the respect. But I could take these. I'm just going to take this off the chart for now. And you have another zone up here just for, if you were to put in a higher low and a higher high, $68 to $73 could be next, right? I know a lot of people are there or here for that, right? I don't know why I can't talk. But let's see where we can look for these lower highs and lower lows. So come on down to a lower time frame. So we do kind of have a little bit of so you got a little volume profile up there, little area of balance. Pull the fib. Confluence on the value area low here. I don't know if you're going to get that big of a retracement, but for argument's sake, even if you did get a retracement all the way up here, you got to be careful, right? If that money flow is still coming out, let's say the daily money flow is still coming out, definitely an area to put in a lower high and a lower low. 786 would be the next zone, right? Potential lower high and lower low if money flow is continuing to the downside. If not, well, hey, maybe we can look for a bigger breakout. But as of right now, again, I don't know if you're going to get this big move up with that money flow still coming out, so we could still look for some local levels as well. I would pull... Yeah, I mean, I would just look for your range pretty much, right? Value area high. You're inside your volume profile. As long as you remain below that value area high, let's say you get a bounce here. Again, I would much prefer, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of a sauce here, I would still like one more little drop down here, right? Like even the 15-minute and the 30-minute, right? I would love one more drop down here. Can't promise it, right? But tap into the bigger key levels. Bullish divergence forms, right? Then maybe you can get the retracement. That retracement, in my opinion, could have the power. Value area high. You can't break out of here. Similar to Ethereum. Right? Ethereum bounces. And again, this range was slightly different. Right? Value area high was here. You tried to get out. You couldn't. You got above the value area high, but you just couldn't get out. Money flow was coming out, sucks you back into the range. Same thing here on hype. Right? You could fake out, right? But if money flow is continuing out, you could look for that retracement down. Again, the reason I'm looking for those lower highs and lower lows is because of the higher time frame money flow. 2-day money flow coming out, right? So I would say this is like your biggest level locally, sitting between 49 and 48 cents, $49 and $48, $47.93 to $49. Could also potentially more locally. Honorable mention, if you're not going to go for that bigger retracement, sitting right here, 47.19 to 47.35. If you're going to put in a local lower high and lower low, get a little turbulence on the POC, but then eventually if you lose this, you're looking to go down to the value area low, which again is that bigger zone of support that we just looked at, right? Or the second part of the bigger support. Key support number 1, key support number 2. So we'll see if we can get the bounce. See if we can even get that nice little tap in. Something like that could be in the cards with the way money flow looks. So there you go. But you do, even if you don't get the next drop down, you do, it's not the strongest bull divs. Technically, yeah. I'm just going to say it. I would wait for the drop down. If this thing came up, I'd let it go. I would rather get the bigger drop down for a cleaner bullish divergence into the key levels. Something like that. Little free sauce for you guys there. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But those are the key levels I'll be looking at on hype. Long term, my sentiment would be the same as Ethereum. I don't think this thing's going to go to zero unless there's like alt season's canceled and ETH is breaking down below its macro levels of support. But that's what I would look at locally here for hype. Let's see. Shout out to Derek said, Frankie, like the charts, is sometimes tall and sometimes short. Shout out to Derek. The poll of how tall you guys think I am. It's all a trick. I actually changed my height. And the right answer, by the way, on that poll is 5'8" to 5'6". My calves can actually compress me to 5'8" if I want. And then if I want to go taller, I just extend up. But anyway, let's see. $150 from 200x short liquidation on BTC. Buy the dip, people, buy the dip. All right, let's just check back in on Bitcoin real quick. Anything exciting happening? Not really. All right, so what else are we going to look at here? Let's take a look at... Drop some requests in the chat. The free chat, please do not super chat your altcoins. Go catch it, Frankie. Frankie, you're much taller than I thought. Beep. If money flow is turning positive in a downfall, do you assume it's going to bounce or actually wait for the continuation in the candles? Shout out to Bilal. Welcome in, bro. Good to see you. If money flow is turning, slipping into the green on a drop, do you assume it's going to bounce or actually wait for the continuation? Shout out to Bilal. The entire point is to expect the continuation. which in that case would be the drop, right? So, like, for example, if money flow, right, like I'll just do this on like a higher time frame, right? So like back here when we got this bounce, this will probably answer your question. If money flow is crossing into the green and you fall, right, say coming up, you start dropping, but money flow is in the green, I am fully anticipating higher lows and higher highs for the continuation of the trend. The money flow indicates the trend. Same thing on the way down. If money flow is coming down, and then we get a big bounce, but money flow is still in the red, I'm looking for a lackluster bounce, lower high, lower low, continuation of the trend. If money flow is coming out and I get a bounce, I don't just go, okay, now I guess we're going up, right? That kind of, that kind of, shout out to Falco. I'll come back to that in a second. But anyway, the money flow. I don't know why that got me, Falco. Shout out to you, bro. If you get that bounce, it kind of defeats the purpose of looking at the money flow. If it's like you just get a bounce of money flows in the red and you're just thinking it's going up, it's like then the money flow is not helping you, right? The whole point is on those bounces, if money flow is coming up, that is what gives me the confidence that the lower high will come in for the lower low. It's the reason why I'm holding the short here from the high, right? We have the 4-hour money flow. Whoops. The heck? We have the 4-hour money flow crossing into the red, or, for the entry, we have the 30-minute money flow crossing into the red, right? Like this little bounce, right? If money flow, and this is the opposite of what you're saying. You were talking about money flow crossing green, but here it's the same thing, right? Crossing into the red, you get a bounce. I'm not just saying like, oh, okay, I guess money flow was wrong. I'm looking at that as like, oh, okay, nice, we're bouncing. I'm going to stick to what the money flow says, continuation down. So the answer to your question is, if I bounce when money flow is coming out, I am assuming that the trend is going to continue. I listen to the money flow. If money flow is crossing into the green and we get a dump, right? Oh, this money flow is super choppy. I'll try to get like a cleaner wave here, right? If money flow is coming up and I get a drop, I'm expecting that money flow to continue playing out, right? Meaning the drop is looked at as a higher low and a higher high. Does that make sense? Shout out to Bilal. Hopefully that answers your question. Great question. Shout out to Falco. Thank you for the super chat, bro. He says, your altcoins. Get him out of here. Ban Falco. I'm just kidding. Don't ban Falco. We love you, bro. Let me just make sure I didn't miss any super chats here. Shout out to Woozy. Thank you for the super chat. Said, check Bless USDT. Shout out to you, bro. I will try. If we have time, I'll take a look at Bless. No problemo. Let's see here. Shout out to Dennis. Thank you for the super chat. Said, Frankie, can you please check Bitcoin dominance plus ETH dominance plus USDT, USDC dominance plus USDT dominance? Recently found this chart, and I hope it shows what's coming next. Shout out to Dennis. I will try to do that. If we have time, I will try to do that. I actually might dig into that, even if we don't have time today. I might dig into that and maybe bring it up tomorrow. Interesting. I'll have to do some investigating. I'll have to put on my glasses and start investigating. Shout out to Dennis. Thank you so much for the super chat, bro. Shout out to Mr. Rescue Pack. Said, any thoughts on Auki? Thank you for the super chat, bro. No, I don't have any thoughts on that as of right now. I could try to take a look at it if we have time. AUKI. Is that what it was? AUKI. I will try to take a look at that if we have time. Let's see. Shout out to Bilal. Said, yes, I made a bad decision by closing my Solana short because I was scared Trump and Powell were going to say something, but the money flow was still in the red. Shout out to Bilal. Let me know how. Let me know if that played out. Was the money flow right, or was what they were saying right? Let me know. But just from a binary perspective, Bilal, just to help you out here, very clear problem. Not for everyone to notice, but for someone like me to notice, because I've been through the thick of all this. Read your chat that you just sent there. I was scared. What does that mean? That means that you made a decision based off of your emotion, the opposite of what you want to do, right? So even if you thought that, right, on like news days or anytime there's something going on, I always recommend people kind of just stay off the charts or just stay out of trades. You don't have to stay off the charts, but you can stay out of trades just to like let that stuff play out. Because sometimes the news can give you unexpected moves, right? I made a bad decision because I was scared. Take that part of your chat. I made a bad decision because I was scared. Why was it a bad decision? Because you made it off of an emotion, right? And at least if you stick to the TA could have been wrong, right? I guess in this case, it sounds like the TA was right. Yeah, money flow was right. There's your answer. Perfect. Right there, bro. You just explained it. You answered your own question without even knowing. Shout out to Bilal. This is beautiful. I'm like so happy this happened. Made a bad decision because I was scared. Emotion, bad decision. That's all I see. Emotion, bad decision. Now, you could have stuck with the money flow, and the money flow could have been wrong. But at least you stuck to your plan. You didn't make the emotional decision. You just made the decision based off the information on the chart. It's the biggest, most important thing when it comes to trading. It's why I tell people don't quit their job to start trading full-time until you start consistently making money for an extended period of time. Because when it comes to trading, you are already so prone as a human being, it is human nature, to make decisions off of emotion. It's already fighting against you from the get-go. Right? Add quitting your job and relying on trading to make money in the beginning. Now what are you doing? Now you're revenge trading. Now you're really upset if you're in the red, even if your trade's going to play out, right? If let's just say you're long here, right? And then the trade goes a little bit red, you're like, oh my God, now I'm down. Like I could have paid rent with this money. Like, oh my God, the emotions are going to be through the roof. So you always want to keep, even when I take a trade that loses, right? I did this with the premium Discord. I took a low probability trade. I was explaining why it was low probability, and I was like, watch this, guys. I'm going to take this trade with a calculated risk. I'm going to lose $70. I'm in a short. I was in a short at the time, up like $1,000 or $2,000. I could take this short or take this long, right? And if I get stopped out, right, I see some local confirmations. It wasn't the best trade, but at the end of the day, if you see the signs, see the signals, like for example, my short here that I'm still holding, right? The short from the top. I could have been wrong here, right? But why did I take the trade? I took the trade because I had the confirmations. I had local bearish divergences. I had high time frame bearish divergences on time frames like the 12-hour, like the 10-hour, higher highs, lower highs, red dot printing. So bearish divergences locally and on the higher time frames, like pretty high time frames, like the 10, 8, 12-hour, right? So high time frame bear divs, low time frame bear divs. We also had an SFP up here. I'll save you the time of marking it out, right? And on these high time frame bear divs, like the 8-hour, you can see higher highs, lower highs. There's the bearish divergence. That red dot was printing with the 30-minute money flow crossing into the red, right? So I had high time frame bear divs, low time frame bear divs, SFP. I hit the key level, and I had the 8-hour red dot with the 30-minute money flow crossing over. That's 5 confirmations. And I even said to the Discord, I said, listen, we have the POC above. It could act as a magnet. It could suck price up. If it stops me out, I don't care. Why don't I care? Because I have my confirmations, so I take the trade. It's as simple as that, right? Even if I think, oh my God, we're going to pump. Oh my God, something else is going to happen. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. It's binary. If I get the confirmations at a key level, I take the trade. If like 1 + 1 = 2, that's it, right? And if I get stopped out, guess what? It's still a good trade, even though I lost it, right? Why is it still a good trade? Because I stuck to my plan. And if I just stick to the plan over enough time, those losing trades, especially with good risk management, are never going to lose me more money than I'll make, right? So I'm glad that happened. Thank you for saying that, Bilal, because it's like a perfect explanation, right? I made a bad decision because of emotion. That's all that happened. And you're going to have to work on it, and you'll probably make that mistake 100 more times, right? But just notice the mistake and try to fix it. Always stick to the plan. If I got stopped out here, I wouldn't be like, oh my God, now I'm losing the trade. Like, I'm going to close it, right? The confirmations are here. I have my technical invalidation. The trade is either going to win or it's going to lose. In this case, it won, right? But if it lost, this is why I make videos when I lose trades, right? Like I actually won a trade, but I had terrible execution. And I made that video to explain to you guys why it was a bad trade. I won the trade, just like I could lose a trade and it be a good trade because I stuck to my plan. I can have a winning trade and it could be a terrible trade. And I actually have a video on the channel explaining this. I had a winning trade. I think I made like $3 grand on the trade. Great. Yeah. Yay money, right? Like cool. But it was a terrible trade because I didn't stick to my plan. I fumbled the ball. I exited. I re-entered. I don't remember the exact situation, but it was just terribly executed. And at the end of the day, like I didn't really, I just shouldn't have taken the trade, right? Or I should have just kept the original trade open. So even though I won the trade, like the execution was a C-, right? So you could have winning trades that are bad trades, right? At the end of the day, I could just gamble 100x long right now and it could play out and I'll make money. Is that a good trade? Absolutely not. Right? Why? Well, it's based off no strategy. It's based off no system. There was no risk management. That's a bad trade, whether you make money or not. And the reason it's a bad trade is because if you actually want to replace your job, if you actually want to do this full time, gambling and making a big trade is not going to change. It's not going to change your life. I got to just say it, right? Like unless you make $1 billion, right? You're just going to make a bunch of money and you're going to lose it over time because you don't have a system. You're just gambling, right? So that's why I say, like, just always remember information over emotions every single time. If you have the confirmations, you take the trade. It's as simple as that, right? So shout out to Bilal. Thank you for being. Did you call out the Bitcoin short to the paid community? Yes, I did. We were waiting for it forever. But then actually, I could show this, right? Because a lot of people ask me, like, what is the premium Discord like, right? Like, what do we actually do? To actually give you an idea. I'm not going to pull up the trades folder here only because I have a lot of like current setups that we're waiting for. But yeah, like these are the last trades that we took. The short from the all-time high, the long from 107K, and now this short position that we're in right now. And it was in the Discord. We were waiting for this level for quite some time. But then as I don't want to spend too much time trying to find it. Let's see. And then I just updated them. I'm not always sitting at my desk in the Discord. So it's not a signals group. I don't tell everybody like, hey, buy right now. Okay, sell right now. If I'm at the computer, I let them know what I'm doing. If I'm sitting here closing portion of my trade, hey guys, I'm taking a TP1 here. And even if I'm not in the trade, it's impossible. I don't catch every single trade. But I always let people know, like even on a long position that we had earlier today, I said, hey guys, long played out. We got the exact confirmations we were looking for. This will be a TP for me. I didn't personally, it happened while I was sleeping, so I wasn't personally in the trade, but like, hey, this is where I would take profit. But it is not a signals group. I want to be very clear about that. I give you my spoon-fed trade setups, the levels that we're looking at. I'll show you an example here, if I could find it. Okay, I think this is the post, right? So very often, right, this is like, for example, this is like an old setup that we were looking at. It's an if this, then that. Hey, guys, if price comes down here, this is the level I'm looking at, and they all have my shared chart. When you join the Discord, I share with you my chart link. So essentially what happens is I send you a link. You can click that link, and you can save and import my whole chart with all these folders with all the TA into your trading view. So you have my exact chart. You don't have to do any of the TA. But it's like if this, then that. Hey, guys, we're sitting up here. If we get a pullback, look for this level, right? And then I talk about the exact confirmations, if I can call it front run them, exactly what I would want to see down there to enter the position, right? But for the specific example of this short position, I'm not going to find we were waiting for it for a while, but it was like this. It's like, hey, guys, if we come up here, this is a short that I'm looking for. But then I just had it. Where was it? Right here. Hey, Mafia. So right now, Bitcoin has confirmed the 4-hour bearish divergence. We have high time frame bear divs into our key zone. All the things I just listed, right? 4-hour bearish divergence. Is this it? I think this is it. Yeah. Whoops. We have the 4-hour bear div and now have high time frame bear divs like the 8-hour, the 10-hour, the 12-hour that I just showed you. Into our key level of resistance. I took a small starter short here with the stop above the high. Confirmations are there, however, with the POC right above, like I just explained, right? POC right above. We could get a sweep of that upper liquidity. I gave it a shot, but won't be surprised if I get stopped out. If we push into the POC, I may look for another entry. Other than that, my overall plan remains the same. If we flip the POC, looking up towards 120K, right? So letting everybody know I'm taking a shot up here. And hey, like I mentioned before, we might sweep up into that POC, but if it happens, it's okay. I'm going to take a small loss, right? We were holding the long from 107K, which would have continued to pay us out. So there you go. If I could scroll up far enough here, right? This is all old stuff, but if I could scroll up, we could scroll up high enough. Yeah, so this was the original setup, right? Like before we even get to that level, we're looking for that level for the short. And in the live streams, I explain exactly what we're looking for if we come into those levels as well. So yeah, but it is not a signals group. I will never just tell you where to buy and sell. I teach you how to be a self-sustained trader, right? Focus a lot on education as well. But yeah, we've been absolutely slapping it in the Discord lately. But there we go. Bitcoin get another little push down here. Come on, baby. Give me that golden pocket, man. Give me that golden pocket. Do it. Do it, Bitcoin. You could do it. Come on. Come on. Give me a little. It's all about the little. Anyway, the premium Discord is fire. Shout out to Erica. Let's go. Let's go. I don't really talk about it a lot because at the end of the day, guys, there is enough free information on this YouTube channel. I give more free value. People charge over $1,000 for the information on my YouTube channel. It lives on my channel for free. You can go rewatch the beginner series. I've even organized it all in a free playlist. But if you go through all the tutorials on this channel, guys, it is infinitely valuable and it's all free. If you want to take your trading to the next level, if you want to get insight and follow along with what I'm doing, then you can get into the Discord. But before you even spend money on anything, a paid indicator, a premium Discord or anything, even if it's my stuff, I am totally transparent. Don't join my Discord. Unless you're ready, right? Like, if you have not gone through all the tutorials, like, the fact of the matter is 99% of people won't have the grit to put in all the work to, like, even if the information's free. Most people won't just go through that. And we have a bunch of people in the Mafia that aren't in the Discord and are crushing at trading by just learning from the free YouTube channel. So, yeah, like, go through all the free content. Like, I'm not going to sit here and shill, get in my Discord. I don't really care, right? Learn for free. Learn for free on YouTube, and then if you like what you learn, you like the way I teach, then you can get into the Discord if you want. But anyway, let's continue on here. Bearish on the likes again, I see. Shout out to Jesse. Smash that like button if you guys appreciate the free analysis, the free education, the free TA. So there you go. Shout out to Bilal. But thank you for saying that, bro, because I think it's that's a big thing, right? Like, and being vulnerable enough to say, like, hey, I got scared, so I closed this position. Like, you got to be vulnerable like that to learn, right? So shout out to you, man. So just take that, learn from it, and it seems like you're on the right track. Shout out to Bilal. Round of applause for Bilal. Shout out to Perry. Said, that's me. That's why I'm good from your streams. Shout out to Perry. Yeah, even if you don't watch the tutorials, like, you just watch the streams. I'm pretty educational on the streams as well. Yeah, just follow the Frankie Candles beginner series. Yeah, the beginner series will teach you from not knowing what a chart is to having a fully marked up chart, being able to find setups for yourself. Let's see. Let's get bullish on those likes. Shout out to Crypto Knight. All right, let's take a look at some. I don't want to go. Oh man, we're like already out of time, but I will take a look at, what was it? Aki versus. I don't know if they're still in here. Who was it? Shout out to Mr. Rescue. I can't see the full name. Shout out to Mr. Rescue. Let's take a look at Aki. Okay, we actually have some. All right, so I'll just break this down really quickly. I don't want to spend too much time. I'm pretty much the end of the stream. We're kind of chilling at this point. But I will mark this stuff out. Bada boom. Bada bing. All right, so we came up to test that value area low. This would technically be the doorway into about 5 cents. Just... All right, so I'll mark out these volume profiles. All right, so we're kind of in between profiles here. Yeah, there's the POC flip. All right, so value area number 1 above you. Key level above. 0.036, I'm not going to say the whole number. 362.70, I'll just say that. These little tiny numbers are just like, 3 cents, 0.36. I don't know how to say it, right? It's like, if you get above this level, this is your level to hold. This is your doorway to higher prices, and more specifically, the doorway to the POC at about 4 cents. Flip the POC, very high probability to fill the range in full, up to the value area high at 5 cents, right? So this is your big doorway to higher prices. Doorway to higher prices. Right there. Then, yeah, I'll just give you the macro levels. I'm not going to pull up every little tiny microscopic level. Just give you the big ones. Let's get some weekly horizontals in here. You just don't really even have any. You got a weekly horizontal right up here. So this would definitely, I don't know how quickly you'll get up here, but like this is definitely going to be resistance. Just because it's a value area high, and then the confluence on the weekly is nice as well. See if I can get an MPOC somewhere. You got a weekly MPOC right on that point of control. Very common. Another weekly MPOC right on the point of control. Very common. Literally twice. Let's check the monthly. Monthly MPOC. So, yeah, I would definitely say breaking above the 0.0364 level, definitely that's your next key level of resistance. So these are the key levels above. Ideally, you get accepted into this range, hit the POC, get the little turbulence, and then fill the range in full. This is your range. Value area high, 5 cents. POC, weekly and monthly MPOC is sitting at about 4 cents and then 3 cents at the value area low. And you could copy these exact levels if you want to get them nitty gritty. And then, if you get the bigger drop to the downside, I say the biggest level to hold above is the 2 cent value area high. Because once you break back down into this range, just like breaking above here opens the door to fill the range in full, if you come back all the way down here and get accepted into the range, next likely place for price to go is going to be the POC/weekly MPOC, sitting at 0.013 and 0.012. So these are going to be the two major ranges I would look at, and the biggest confluent levels are going to be 4 cents and then to the downside about 2 cents. Yeah, and you got your macro golden pocket right up in here as well, right? So if you have to get a bigger correction, this could be a place to look for a higher low and a higher high, right? Little correction, macro higher low, for then the macro higher high. I can't promise it's going to play out like that. You could come up in here first. I don't know. But that is the key levels that I would look at. This would be very clean. Because if we look at the daily, right? Daily money flow in the green, right? So this does look a little bit different than everything else. 16-hour money flow coming out. 12-hour money flow trying to come out. 10-hour money flow. 8-hour money flow. Yeah, money flow kind of choppy on this thing, to be honest. Daily money flow looks pretty good, though. So if you continue up, that's your levels and your guide for where price will go next. And if this, winds up, you have daily bearish or 3 drives of bearish divergence into this key level. So if you get the bigger pullback, definitely look at this level. There you go. There's Aki. Quick little breakdown from no TA to a full kind of setup there. So there you go. Let me jump back into chat here real quick. Frankie, I learned a lot from you. I don't need the Discord. I see what you are doing, and I know how to do it. Shout out to Perry. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Let's see. Frankie, can you please review ARK? It looks bullish. ARK is in the stock ARK? Or is in the crypto ARK? I assume you mean the crypto. This will probably be the only time you guys ever see me do this. You guys will be like, what the heck? Is Frankie drawing a triangle? What the heck? I mean, you are. I'll tell you what. You're coming to the apex of this triangle. The closer you get to this apex, the more likely you are to get a reaction. The question is the reaction down or is the reaction up? I would argue, I mean, unless we go into a bear market, I don't know. I don't really. And now the way I would look at this, right, is a volume profile, right? I don't really look at patterns. I would look at this as a volume profile. Doesn't mean that the triangle won't break out, but this is what I would look at here. Does it look bullish, I guess is the question you're looking for, because you say it looks bullish. You want to know if I agree. Well, let me see. Daily money flow, choppy. Kind of hard to make a call off of that. 2-day money flow, coming up. Or generally trending up, if you want to call it that. Up, down, up, down. Yeah, I guess generally you're trending up here. Let's check the 3-day. 3-day money flow. Again, on the altcoins, guys, the 3-day money flow is a huge bullish sign, right? So if you can get the 3-day money flow crossover, I think that's where you see the bigger trend to the upside. So you might have a little more chopping around to do here. You went from the low back into the range to the POC to the high, fulfill the range. Hit the high. This is where you look for shorts. Back to the POC. You lose the POC. Back down to the low. Rotation number 2. Back down below the low. This is where you look for longs. Back into the range. POC. Value area high. Rotation number 3. You deviate into the high. Back below the POC. You might be on your way to the low for a 4th rotation of the range. But this doesn't mean that it's bearish, right? Like, sure, this move would be classified as bearish. But I wouldn't say, with money flow coming up, I would honestly be somewhat more bullish, right? If this money flow crosses into the green, you might just have a little bit more turbulence before finally getting this thing to break out. I would say the big thing to look at here is the 3-day money flow crossover. You can look at your local fib here. Where's the 786? 786 sits there. Let me pull the full 786. So I would look at this. 786 sitting between, 34 and 33 cents. This is a big level. Technically, you could bounce off the golden pocket as well. But yeah, with this money flow coming out, I just wouldn't. You're already getting a reaction off the golden pocket. I just wouldn't be surprised if you wind up getting the loss of this golden pocket. I personally, just with the way I trade, would prefer the value area low. Doesn't mean it has to come in, but there is reason to expect it potentially, right? This money flow crosses into the red on the 16-hour. You could look for lackluster retracements, lower highs, lower lows. Could bring you into that 786. So this would be a big level I would look at, between about 33 and 34 cents. If you could hold this, could look good to continue the trend up, right? And then at that same time, if this give the 16-hour some time to play out before that 3-day continues into the green, right? And then once you start cooking up into the top of the profile here, this 3-day money flow is probably going to work its way up and cross into the green, which could indicate a breakout of the range, right? And then if you're looking at this triangle, saying to yourself, like, just bring the pattern back into the equation here, right? It's like you would also be coming to retest the bottom of that triangle. So, the closer you get to this apex, the closer it is to breaking out. I would like this. If you push down into there, hold this value area low, you can long it, in my opinion, right? Not a trade signal, I'm not telling you to do this. I'm just saying if this were me, I would personally be sitting on my hands waiting for that 786, right? And then you could take a nice little volume profile range trade. The way that would look is maybe you wiggle down here, right, on a lower time frame. And this is all if you lose the golden pocket, right? Come down to the value area low. Maybe you deviate slightly, reclaim. Once you take that trade, right, if you could take that long position, the next stop for price is going to be the POC. After that, you're going to be looking to the value area high. At that point, right, technically, inside of this profile, TP number 1 is going to be the point of control, right? TP2 would be the value area high. At that point, you can have profits locked in, stop loss to break even, guaranteed winning trade, right? If it comes down and stops you out, well, you already took profit. You're still winning the trade, technically, even though you got stopped out. But if that 3-day money flow crosses into the green and you get a massive push to the upside, well, guess what? You're long from the local low, and you can just let that thing ride. And if it's in accordance with like alt season and stuff, and you're looking for like massive targets, well, hey, that might be the last time to enter a long position. So that's what I would look for. Again, I can't promise you're going to get the drop down to the 786. I would prefer to wait for that though, personally. So there you go. I'll just like leave this here, and we'll see if we ever check back in on this. We'll know. Worst case scenario, it comes in. You could take a shot at the trade, and as long as you're managing your risk, it'd be a small loss, right? No big deal. But we'll see what happens there. All right, there we go. And with all that being said, guys, it is 7:42. We're already here at a longer stream. I didn't say it was going to be a short stream today, even though I say that almost every day. Yeah, shout out to Faith T says, Frankie, why don't you use Elliott waves? Why don't you use Elliott wave theory in your analysis? It's seriously a huge eye-opener and helps a lot. Nerd emoji. Bro, I love that nerd emoji. It's like perfect use of the nerd emoji. Shout out to Faith. Great question. I'm going to answer it how I answer pretty much every other kind of question I get like that. Like, Frankie, why don't you use this? Elliott waves, I think, is the one thing that I don't use a lot in my analysis that I think would be very, very useful. Because it's not like an extra indicator. It's not like an extra I mean, I guess it is kind of like a strategy, but it doesn't muddy up your chart, right? A lot of people say, why don't you use moving averages? Well, at the end of the day, whatever moving average you're looking at that is a key level of support, I probably have a key point of control or a key value area high or a Fibonacci level. So there's no reason to have every indicator pointing to the same level. But when it comes to Elliott waves, I'll be honest, right? It's just doesn't click in my brain. It's just like, for me, and I do like very basic, very, very basic Elliott waves. I will keep in mind. I don't really talk about them a lot because I don't really use it that often. But I would agree with you. I think Elliott waves are very, very, very good to look at. But it's just, I think you have to use what works for you, right? And for me personally, Elliott waves are just super confusing to me, and I just never really took the time to sit down and study them the way that I've studied what I know. Like volume profiles, even market cipher B or Fibonacci retracements, market structure, liquidity, all that stuff is like, I have dove in deep and spent thousands of hours, right? Probably hundreds, but tons and tons of time learning that stuff. And Elliott waves just weren't an immediate click in my brain. It's just like, I don't know. It just doesn't vibe with the way my brain works. I don't know. They are definitely very useful. I would root for Elliott waves. They're super legit. They play out more than they don't. I root for Elliott waves. Unlike patterns, right? Like trading patterns alone, I'm not a fan of for many different reasons. Fake outs, liquidity sweeps, all this stuff. Like if you don't understand all this stuff, you're going to get cooked trading patterns. But Elliott waves are definitely super, super useful. Just doesn't vibe with me. And maybe something that I add later down the line. But yeah, I have nothing but good stuff to say about Elliott waves. Let's see. Diddy dominance at 69%. Shout out to Dizzy Gang. Well, guys, with all that being said, I think that's all the time we got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I already went over like 20 minutes. But thank you all for being here. We'll keep an eye on Bitcoin here. We'll see if we get that last little drop to the downside. Bitcoin currently coming in at 112.56. Just kind of bing-bonging around there. So just understand, if you just tuned in, scroll back to the beginning of the stream. I give you my full thoughts on Bitcoin. It's always the first thing that we look at. We'll see. We got to break out of that value area high at about $113,000 to get any significant move up. And if we get a significant retracement from where we are now, whether we get the next little dip into the golden pocket or not, 114,250 to 115,700 is the big zone where I'll be looking for lower highs and lower lows. Of course, following along with the money flow coming out. So with all that being said, guys, that's all the time I got for today's live stream. I appreciate every single one of you guys for tuning in. Thank you, Frankie. Take care. Shout out to Jeff. Shout out to Jesse. Shout out to Giga Longbottom. Shout out to Alex Terminate. Is that like all exterminate? Alex Terminate. Shout out to you, man. Shout out to Megan. Shout out to Crypto Knight. Shout out to Tony D said, but I never trade off them. Yeah, Tony loves Elliott waves. And Tony will send me an Elliott wave idea and he'll be like, I don't know, bro, looks good. And almost every time he does that, he sends me a screenshot and he's like, well, look at that. Look at that. Shout out to Tony D. But that's all I got. That's all I got for tonight, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate every single one of you guys. I'll see you tomorrow, same place, same time. If something crazy happens, I'll drop a market update. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't know what is in me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.
I'm trying, guys. I'm trying so hard. We're trying to pump her back up and pump Bitcoin as well. I got to get back to work. Hasta pasta. Bing bong.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go. Yeah, we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like. Yeah, you about to see me on demand, like. You know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy. On the road, here we go. a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll. And it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Hey, on a roll, here we go, yeah. At the top of the class on a roll. Hey, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know. Yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor. Yeah, on a roll, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On a roll, here we go, here we go.
She's back, baby. She's back. Pump this thing. Hasta pasta, Mafia. Bing bong.